Hey everyone, this is Corey with Stafford's EDC, and today we're taking a look at the Vosteed Labrador. Now this here is a pretty big knife. If you want to just see this in my hands, I wear a large size glove. You can see I have plenty of room down here, and choking up, there is a ton of extra handle room on this. So this is certainly not a small knife here. You have a liner lock, you have front flipper, thumb studs, and a rear flipper. Looking at 154 cm for your blade steel. As I said, it is the Labrador, and it is made by Vosteed. This, you can see, has a ton of use on it, so I have a very good idea of how this performs, so let's talk about it a little bit. The first thing I want to talk about is the front flipper, because it's going to be the biggest negative for me on this knife, and I kind of want to get it out of the way. With how long and slim this knife is, it takes quite a bit of effort from the thumb to get to that front flipper. And it works fine, but the positioning's not great. It's not wide enough for me to get to where I need to be on it. And you can see that didn't deploy fully. The action's fantastic, which you can see here. Drop shut with no issues. But yeah, this front flipper is just not great. The jimping's not very aggressive, though it does continue all the way up to the very top here. It's not aggressive enough, and the overall slimness of this knife kind of make it difficult to use. Not impossible, but difficult. So I did want to point that out right away, as that is my biggest negative point on this knife. Now I think it would look much better aesthetically without it too. And you can see like that. Yeah, that's a much better looking knife than this little mohawk thing it's got coming out of it. Now the thumb studs work really nicely, as do the flipper. They both deploy nice and easily, but not too light of a detent on this one. You can see it will deploy. Yeah, once it goes, it goes. So that's nice to see. Love seeing a detent tuned like that. Plenty of lock bar access you can see here. This is cut away, so you can get to that liner nice and easily. And this has a great grind on it. Now this is a hollow grind on here, I do believe. Maybe it's not. Nope, it's not. It's a flat grind. But it comes to quite a thin edge, and this grind does, of course, come all the way up to the spine, which is great to see. See some distal taper go from the thickest part here, and it gradually thins out towards the tip, largely in about this area here, which is nice to see, as that helps reduce the drag when cutting through things. And as you can tell, this cut through quite a few things, and it performed really well because of that. That grind makes it, a really nice slicer, and there's plenty of blade length here, with just a nice bit of belly from kind of this last, like half of the blade almost, maybe a third, but it's a pretty substantial portion of the blade. Yeah, I'd say half. They have this belly on it, so you can start with a push cut with that flat part, and as you extend and rotate your wrist, you still get plenty of cutting edge contact due to that, so which is great. The action just drops shut with no issues, and this is tightened all the way down with no play. Very hydraulic type action on the close. You can see the detent kind of suck that in. And yeah, the ergos are pretty solid. Like I said, there's plenty of room. These are fully contoured. You can see that rounding on there. I know I'm a little close to the camera. Close the blade there. You can see the contouring that happens to these scales. You can also see that evident in the striping here. But yeah, this is nice and comfy in hand. It's a little bit thick maybe overall, but not in a bad way. Just that's what happens when you get contoured handles. With the slimness of this knife, I actually appreciate the thickness of the handle quite a bit. Ergos when choked up are good. There is a little jimping here, but it is not at all aggressive. I wish it was a little bit more continued up to these thumb studs maybe, and it was more aggressive. That would certainly make this feel a lot better in hand. As it stands, it's quite slippery on the spine due to this stone-washed finish here. The only other thing that I wish they would have done a little differently is this pocket clip. They had so much room to move this down, but they chose to mount it there. So you have, even with a deep carry pocket clip, all that sticks out of the pocket. There's no reason for that. And they included a lanyard hole, which there's also no reason for. I don't think you're putting a lanyard on a 8+ inch overall knife with a pocket clip. I just don't see it happening. But, I guess you never know. And then, of course, this is not reversible either, so keep that in mind. This is going to be a right-handed only knife, both the lock orientation and the pocket clip. But overall, the performance of this knife is great. I don't know the price of this off the top of my head, but I can imagine that it is crazy expensive. I know Vosteed does some stuff in the budget range. So this is one that if you need a larger knife that has pretty good cutting performance, perhaps you want all 3 deployment methods, this might be a really good option for you. And depending on price, this could be a great option for some people who are just getting into knives too, though it is a little bit on the big side for people who are newer. I definitely suggest staying in the 3-inch range or lower. If for people who are new to the knife game, you don't want to give somebody like a pocket sword and then, you know, make that their introduction, because it's just usually not the best first impression to give people, you know, especially when they're trying to get comfortable. Give them something that's easy to handle. And, you know, this is easy to handle, but again, is on the larger side. So keep that in mind if you're thinking about getting this for somebody new to knives. But overall, yeah, the Vosteed Labrador, pretty ergonomic, pretty good cutting performance, great action, and an overall pretty good knife. I'm going to keep this nice and short and leave you guys with that there. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.